Some tales do not begin with thunder but with dust, with a woman kneeling on the edge of the world, clinging to life not her own. The canyon lay vast and merciless, carved by centuries of silence, the evening sun spilling gold across its stone shoulders. The wind rose from its depths like a ghost, carrying whispers of all who had fallen, all who had been forgotten. And on that edge, Clara Whitfield pressed herself flat against the rock, her arms straining, her heart wild as a horse untethered. The children had slipped where no child should wander. Elena and Micah, twins of tender years, had chased each other too close to the brink. Feet on loose stone, laughter turned into terror. Their bodies now dangled, clinging by mere fingers, eyes wide with the uncomprehending fear of those too young to know how close the grave can come. Behind them, the townfolk saw, but they did not move. Some turned away. Others crossed their arms, whispering among themselves as if the canyon's hunger was none of their concern. Clara heard the cry before anyone else. Without thought, she ran. Her dress caught dust, her hair whipped free from its pins. She dropped to her knees, belly pressed to the stone, and seized the children's wrists. The force nearly pulled her forward, but she dug her boots into the dirt, gritted her teeth, and held. Their small hands were slick with sweat, nails digging into her skin, their bodies trembling like frightened colts. Every breath burned her lungs, every muscle screamed, yet she refused to let go. Pebbles clattered down, swallowed by the abyss. Her heart followed each one in its fall. She whispered hoarsely, promises to children not her own, "I've got you. I won't let go." The canyon wind pressed against her ears, carrying the murmurs of the townsfolk who only watched. Some muttered she had no place. Others judged her for touching what they would not. None came forward. And then, footsteps, heavy and urgent, cutting through the dust. A figure bore down upon them with the force of a storm. Chase Iron Horse, the twins' father. His long hair streamed behind him, tied in braids, his chest marked with sweat and trailed dust. His gaze was sharp, fierce as a hawk descending. To Clara, pressed against the earth, he was at first no comfort, but a danger of his own. Unknown, wild, his silence deeper than the canyon itself. Together they pulled the children up, collapsing on solid ground, hearts pounding like drums. The twins clung to Clara still, burying their faces in her dress as though she were a shield. Chase's eyes narrowed, unreadable, lingering on the way their small fingers refused to release her. There was no word of thanks. Only suspicion, heavy as iron, passed between them. Behind them, the townsfolk scattered like tumbleweed before wind. Their silence was not born of awe, but of disdain. Later, Clara heard them in hushed corners of the settlement. "She clings to those Comanche young-uns like they were her own blood." Their words were sharp as broken glass, cutting deeper than they knew. Clara, already marked as stubborn and strange, found herself pushed further from the fragile circle of belonging. That night, in her small cabin, she lay awake staring at the rafters. The lantern flame had died, but the memory of the children's grip still burned into her skin. She could taste the dust in her teeth, feel the canyon's breath in her chest. Most of all, she heard again their cries, thin, desperate, echoing in the silence. She turned onto her side, eyes wet, and whispered to the dark as though it could answer. Why was it only me? The canyon had taken nothing that day, yet something in Clara had fallen, deep into the shadows below, never to return unchanged. The days that followed the rescue unfolded slow, like dust drifting across an open plain. Clara rose before dawn to tend her meager fields, yet the weight of small hands upon her wrists lingered as though carved into her bones. Every furrow she dug, every bucket she carried, she remembered Elena's frightened gasp, Micah's desperate clutch. She tried to shake the memory, but it returned with the morning sun, faithful as her own shadow. One evening, as the last light bled over the horizon, Chase Iron Horse appeared at her gate. He said little, only stood with the twins at his side. Clara's breath caught. The children stared at her with wide, solemn eyes, half in wonder, half in longing. She stepped forward, smoothing her skirt, uncertain if she was welcome. Chase gave no greeting, no thanks, only a nod as if he had measured her soul and found it wanting, yet necessary. He let the twins cross her threshold. He followed, silent as a rider moving through tall grass. The hours turned into small gestures. Clara poured water into tin cups, her hand brushing Elena's hair back from her face. Chase repaired a broken fence post outside without a word. At first, the silence between them was heavy, like an unsaddled horse and used to touch. But there was meaning in the stillness. The way Chase's eyes softened when he saw the children listening to Clara read by lamplight. The way Clara noticed the tired slope of his shoulders, burdened with more than she could yet name. Still, the town saw and judged. Whispers rose like smoke in the general store. She's siding with them now. She's chosen her place among the Comanche. One man spat near Clara's boots as she passed, his gaze hard with disdain. She lowered her head and kept walking, shame and pride warring within her chest. That night, she stood at her window, staring toward the dark horizon where Chase's land stretched unseen, and wondered if her loneliness had been chosen for her, or if she was choosing it herself. That summer's heat broke with a sudden storm. Clouds gathered thick and violent, rolling across the sky like drums of war. Clara was caught out gathering supplies with the twins when the first drops fell, sharp and cold. The canyon loomed nearby, its edges slicking dark beneath the torrent. She tried to lead the children home, but the storm grew fierce, the ground turning to mud. The cliffside quivered under their feet, rocks splitting loose with every step. Thunder split the air as the earth crumbled beneath Elena's heel. Clara lunged, pulling the girl close, but the rain blinded her, and panic clawed at her throat. Micah slipped in the muck, and once again the abyss yawned, merciless and open. Clara's cry was torn away by the wind, until the sound of hooves thundered closer. Cutting through the storm, Chase emerged from the curtain of rain, his horse rearing, his figure a shadow carved against the lightning. He leapt from the saddle and rushed to them. Together, without words, they fought the canyon back. He seized Micah's arm, pulling the boy from the sliding edge, while Clara clung to Elena, boots skidding dangerously. Then Clara herself slipped, the earth dissolving beneath her. Her body pitched forward, the canyon's breath rising to claim her. Chase's hand caught hers. Time slowed, stretched thin as the space between heartbeats. His grip was iron, his eyes locked on hers, dark with something unspoken yet undeniable. The world roared around them. Thunder, rain, the children's cries. But within that clasped moment, there was only silence. The canyon stilled, as if even it was waiting. He pulled her back, his chest heaving with the force of his effort. And for the first time, Clara saw not suspicion but recognition in his gaze. The storm passed as suddenly as it had come, leaving the world hushed and dripping. Clara stood, mud streaked down her dress, the twins clinging to her legs. Chase placed a hand on Micah's shoulder, his other still trembling from the rescue. They did not speak, for words would have broken the fragile thread spun between them. From a distance, townsfolk watched, their faces turned half in curiosity, half in contempt. Yet none stepped forward. Clara felt their eyes, but did not bow her head. She stood taller than before, shoulders squared, her heart steady. She had crossed a canyon wider than stone, the gulf between who she had been and who she was becoming. Chase met her eyes one final time, gave a single nod, and together they walked back toward her cabin with the children between them. Each step was quiet, but heavy with promise, as though some new trail had begun beneath their feet. And now, dear soul who listens to this tale, remember, the West was not built by thunder, nor by bullets alone, but by hands that refused to let go, by hearts that dared to lean closer when the world leaned away. The canyon between us is never so wide that it cannot be crossed, if only we choose to hold on.